The starving diplomat. The emergency lights of Epsilon 9 cast eerie shadows across Mira Chen's quarters as she divided her last nutrient pack into impossibly small portions. 3 weeks since the supply ships stopped coming. 3 weeks since the diplomatic channels went silent. Whatever was happening between Earth Coalition and the neighboring star systems, Mira was caught in the middle, an expendable pawn in a game of interstellar politics. She pressed her fingers against her stomach as it growled in protest. The outpost had been designed for a crew of 20, but political tensions had led to evacuations. Now only Mira remained, tasked with maintaining human presence until further notice. Her terminal beeped with the same automated message she had received daily. Do not abandon post, situation developing, await further instructions. Developing for 3 weeks? She muttered, pushing back her dark hair that had grown limp from rationed shower usage. I'll be a skeleton before they send instructions. The perimeter alarm shattered the silence-making. Mira jumped from her seat, her heart racing. She rushed to the monitoring station, seeing nothing at first, then movement near the eastern airlock. Something dragging itself toward the entrance. Mira grabbed the emergency med kit and a stunner before heading to investigate. The rational part of her brain screamed that this was foolish, but isolation had made her desperate for any contact, even potentially hostile ones. She cycled through the airlock and stepped onto the dusty surface of the moon, the thin atmosphere requiring no suit, just a rebreather, the cold. Immediately biting through her station jumpsuit, then she saw it, a humanoid figure collapsed, 10 meters from the entrance. The being's skin was a rich purple hue, visible even in the dim light. A Synthian. Mira had only seen them in briefings. Their empire controlled 3 neighboring systems, and tensions with Earth had been rising for years. The alien's chest rose and fell in shallow breaths, a dark fluid Mira assumed was blood seeping. From a wound at its side, its eyes fluttered open, revealing stunning silver irises. Please, the Synthian whispered in accented but perfect English. Sanctuary. Mira hesitated only briefly before helping the alien up. The Synthian was light despite being taller than Mira, as if its bones were hollow. Inside the airlock, the alien slumped against the wall while the chamber pressurized. My name's Zara Kavari, the Synthian managed between labored breaths. Ship damaged, attacked. Attacked by whom? Mira asked, supporting Zara as they entered the station. Unsure, perhaps. Your people. Mira felt a chill at these words as she led the injured alien to her quarters, setting Zara on her cot. The wound wasn't life-threatening but needed cleaning and closure. As Mira worked with the limited medical supplies, Zara studied her with those mesmerizing silver eyes. Why help enemy? Zara asked weakly. Are you my enemy? Mira countered, finishing the bandage. I'm a diplomat, not a soldier. And you're injured, not attacking. The alien's expression softened, something like a smile forming on its lips. Mira retrieved her carefully rationed nutrient pack, the last of her food. She hesitated only briefly before offering half to the Synthian. You need strength to heal. Zara's eyes widened. This, all your food? I'll manage, Mira said, ignoring her own hunger. Supplies will come eventually. The alien reached out, touching Mira's hand with cool, smooth fingers, their eyes meeting in a moment of connection that transcended species. This kindness. Unexpected, Zara whispered. My people say humans only take, never give. And my people say Synthians are heartless conquerors, Mira replied. Maybe we've both been misinformed. Zara consumed the food slowly, her silver eyes never leaving Mira's face. Perhaps, Zara said. This meeting not accident. Outside the viewport, the stars glittered coldly against the void, unconcerned with the politics of those living beneath them. Mira didn't know what would happen when her unexpected guest recovered, or when her superiors finally made contact. She only knew that in sharing her last meal with a supposed enemy, she had followed her heart rather than her orders. As the station's night cycle began, Zara drifted to sleep while Mira watched over her, wondering what consequences her compassion would bring, recovery and revelation. 3 days passed as Zara regained strength in Mira's small quarters. The Synthian's wound healed with remarkable speed, the torn purple skin knitting together almost visibly. Mira had surrendered her cot to her guest, making do with a makeshift bed of cushions on the floor, ignoring the persistent gnawing hunger that weakened her own body. Your nutritional stores depleted, Zara observed on the 4th morning, finding Mira struggling to stand after checking the communications array. Mira shook her head, forcing a smile. I'm fine. The coalition will send someone eventually. Zara's silver eyes narrowed, her purple features sharpening with concern. You sacrificed too much for stranger. The alien reached into a concealed pocket in her bodysuit, removing a small metallic disc. With graceful fingers she twisted it, causing the object to unfold like a blooming flower. Inside was a gelatinous substance that glowed with soft blue light. Essence of Cavarli fruit from my homeworld. Zara explained, offering it. Concentrated nutrients will sustain you many days. Mira hesitated. What about you? Cynthians require less sustenance when healing. Zara pressed the disc into Mira's palm, their fingers touching, sending unexpected warmth through Mira's tired body. The substance tasted like nothing Mira had ever experienced. Sweet, yet savory, filling her with immediate energy. As strength returned to her limbs, she noticed Zara watching her with intense fascination. Better, the alien asked, her silver eyes catching the station's artificial light. Much better, thank you. Mira sat across from Zara, curiosity finally overcoming diplomacy. Why were you near this outpost? It's nowhere near established, Cynthian. Roots. Zara's expression changed, becoming guarded, then resolving into something like resignation. Truth required between us now, she said finally, her voice gaining strength. I am Zara Cavarli, third-tier royal scientist of Cynthian High Council. Mira froze, suddenly understanding the significance of her guest. Third-tier royals were among the highest echelons of Cynthian society, just below their governing triumvirate. My vessel not damaged by attack, Zara continued. I came deliberately seeking isolated human outpost for observation mission. You've been spying on us? Mira asked, tension replacing gratitude. Zara shook her head, purple skin shimmering beneath the lights. Not spying, evaluating if humans worthy of alliance. The injury was real, but not from attack, from landing complication. Alliance? But our governments have been at odds for years. Division artificial, created by those profiting from conflict. Zara stood, moving to the viewport, her tall form silhouetted against the stars. My mission to recommend whether Cynthians should offer formal diplomatic recognition or prepare for inevitable conflict. Mira processed this information, years of diplomatic training giving way to simple human reaction. And what have you decided? Zara turned, her silver eyes holding unexpected warmth. Single human sharing last food with enemy, more revealing than 1,000 diplomatic transmissions. Before Mira could respond, Zara closed the distance between them, taking Mira's hands in her own. The alien's skin was cool but not cold, smooth like polished stone yet yielding to touch. Your compassion changes everything, Zara whispered. Mira found herself drawn to Zara's otherworldly beauty, the shimmering purple of her skin, the depths in her silver eyes, the unexpected grace in her movements. I was just doing what anyone would do, Mira said softly. No, Zara replied. Not what anyone would do, what you did, rare among all species. The station's lights dimmed automatically as night cycle began, casting them in shadow, illuminated only by starlight and the glow of monitoring stations. In that moment, the gulf between their worlds seemed both vast and insignificant. We not so different. Zara set her face inches from Mira's. Beneath surface, same hopes, same fears, same capacity for connection. Mira felt herself leaning closer, drawn by something transcending. Diplomatic protocol or interspecies. Curiosity. Their moment of connection was interrupted by a sudden alarm, the proximity alert blaring through the station. Mira pulled away reluctantly, rushing to the monitoring station. Large vessel approaching, she reported, checking the readings. Cynthian design, my extraction team. Zara confirmed, standing straighter, her royal bearing suddenly evident. They track my location through biosignature. Mira felt unexpected disappointment. Then you'll be leaving, Zara's expression softened. Something vulnerable replacing royal. Confidence, perhaps not immediately first contact. Protocols now activated because of our meeting. As the Cynthian ship drew closer, Mira realized that everything was about to change. For her, for Earth, perhaps for the galaxy itself. And at the center of this diplomatic whirlwind was something entirely unplanned. The undeniable attraction between a stranded human diplomat and a royal alien scientist. Zara stepped closer, again her voice low. Whatever happens next, remember this connection between us, real, beyond politics, beyond species. The docking sequence initiated, and Mira straightened her worn uniform, preparing to face whatever came next. The arrival. The Cynthian vessel dwarfed the modest human outpost, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in hypnotic patterns. Mira stood beside Zara in the docking bay, fighting to maintain diplomatic composure despite her racing heart and the hunger that had returned despite Zara's nutritional gift. The airlock cycled open, revealing 5 Cynthians, their purple skin varying in hue, from deep violet to lavender, their silver eyes immediately focusing on Zara with obvious relief. The tallest stepped forward, his ceremonial armor marking him as military leadership. The resemblance to Zara was unmistakable, the same high cheekbones and elegant features. "Sister, we feared worst." He spoke in Cynthian language which Mira's translator rendered imperfectly. "Why no communication circumstances?" A required discretion vexed Zara replied, her posture shifting subtly, becoming more formal. This human diplomat, Mira Chen, provided sanctuary and care. Vex's silver eyes shifted to Mira, appraising, calculating unexpected development. "Royal Council concerned about your extended absence, situation more complex than anticipated." Zara gestured toward Mira. "Formal introductions required. Vex Kavari, second commander of Imperial Fleet. Mira Chen, human diplomatic representative." Mira bowed slightly, remembering protocol. Fragments from briefings. Epsilon 9 welcomes Cynthian delegation. Vex returned the gesture stiffly before turning back to his sister. Switching to their native language, which bypassed Mira's translator, the conversation grew heated. Zara's normally melodic voice taking on sharp edges while Vex gesticulated toward Mira repeatedly. Finally, Zara raised her hand, silencing her brother. "Enough decision made. I remain for continued diplomatic exchange. Protocols require." Vex began. "Protocols secondary to opportunity." Zara interrupted. "Report my status to council. Inform them preliminary evaluation favorable." The tension in the chamber thickened as the siblings stared at each other in silent confrontation. 3 cycles. Vex finally conceded, then extraction regardless of diplomatic progress. After the delegation retreated to their vessel to establish secure communications with the Cynthian homeworld, Mira and Zara returned to the habitat module. The moment the door closed, Zara's royal bearing dissolved, her shoulders slumping with evident relief. "Your brother seems protective," Mira observed. Vex traditional believes Cynthians must remain separate from other species. Zara moved closer, her silver eyes searching Mira's face. "He senses connection between us concerns him greatly." Mira felt her cheeks warm. "Is there a connection between us?" "Undeniable." Zara whispered, her cool fingers brushing Mira's cheek. "Unprecedented between our kinds." The proximity alarm sounded again, this time announcing an incoming Earth Coalition vessel. The monitoring screen showed a diplomatic cruiser approaching from the opposite vector as the Cynthian ship. "Unexpected," Mira breathed, checking the identification codes. "High Command finally responding to my transmissions." "Timing suspicious," Zara observed. "Perhaps your government detected Cynthian presence." The human ship docked alongside the Cynthian vessel, creating an unprecedented diplomatic tableau. The station that had been abandoned and forgotten now suddenly the focal point of interstellar politics. Coalition Ambassador Reeve stepped through the airlock, his expression hardening at the sight of Zara. Diplomat Chen explained Cynthian presence immediately. "First contact protocols activated, sir," Mira replied formally. Royal scientist Zara Kavari sought sanctuary after ship damage. Her delegation arrived for extraction. Unscheduled first contact violates 17 regulations. Reeve's cold eyes shifted between them. "You appear malnourished," Chen. "Supply failure reported." "The situation evolved organically, Ambassador. I believe we have unprecedented opportunity for security breach more likely." Reeve interrupted. "You will transfer all logs and prepare for immediate return to Earth Central." Zara stepped forward, her royal bearing fully restored. "Ambassador Reeve, preliminary alliance discussions initiated. Transfer of diplomat Chen would constitute diplomatic incident." The humans and Cynthians stared at each other. Potential conflict hovering between species separated by light years of distance and centuries of mistrust. What alliance discussions? Reeve demanded. "Those we are about to begin," Mira interjected, finding confidence in Zara's presence beside her. "Unless Earth Coalition prefers continued isolation, while Cynthians forge alliances elsewhere." As tension filled the chamber, Mira's hand found Zara's, their fingers intertwining. Human and alien united by something neither government had anticipated. Genuine connection. Diplomatic dance. The next 12 hours transformed Epsilon 9 from abandoned outpost to diplomatic crucible. The station's conference room, designed for routine research briefings, now hosted representatives from two species whose mutual history consisted primarily of suspicion. Ambassador Reeve sat rigidly across from Vex Kavai while Mira and Zara occupied positions between their respective delegations. Their close seating noticed by all present. Cynthian High Council requires assurances, Vex stated, his translator now properly calibrated. Previous human expansion patterns suggest territorial ambitions. Reeve's expression remained diplomatic but cold. Coalition has similar concerns regarding Cynthian military buildup along neutral zone borders. Mira glanced at Zara, finding the alien already watching her, their eyes meeting in silent communication. Perhaps, Mira suggested, we might focus on immediate opportunities rather than historical concerns. Zara nodded. Scientist Chen and I proposed joint research initiative utilizing Epsilon 9 as neutral territory. The proposal sparked hours of debate, with both delegations retreating periodically for private consultation. During one such break, Mira found herself alone with Zara in her quarters, the only space not commandeered for diplomatic functions. Your ambassador distrusts process, Zara observed, sitting closer than protocol would recommend. As does your brother, Mira replied. They see threats where we see possibilities. Zara's hand found Mira's, their fingers intertwining. Difficult for them to understand what exists between us. And what does exist between us, Zara? Mira asked, finally voicing the question that had lingered since their first meeting. Zara's silver eyes seemed to glow in the dim light, her purple skin radiant, with subtle bioluminescence that appeared with emotional intensity. Cynthians have tradition, she explained. Softly diplomatic, unions between houses to secure alliances, bonds, transcending political fluctuations. Mira's breath caught. Are you suggesting political solution with personal significance? Zara continued, her thumb tracing patterns on Mira's palm. Formal union between scientist Kavai and diplomat Chen, establishing permanent diplomatic channel. Your people would accept such an arrangement? Mira asked, heart racing at implications beyond politics. Unprecedented but not prohibited. Zara moved closer still. Question remains, would you consider such union? Before Mira could respond, the door chimed, announcing Ambassador Reeve's arrival. The diplomatic sessions resumed with renewed tension, both delegations sensing the shifting dynamics. When discussions reached another impasse over security protocols, Zara stood suddenly, commanding attention with her royal presence. Proposal addresses mutual concerns. She announced formal diplomatic union between Cynthian Royal House and Earth Coalition, establishing permanent connection through Representatives Kavai and Chen shocked. Silence followed Zara's declaration, Vex rising halfway. From his seat in evident alarm, explained. This diplomatic union, Reeve demanded, eyes narrowing. Marriage in human terms, Zara clarified, creating relationship transcending political shifts, providing stability through personal commitment. Preposterous, Vex interjected. The Kavari lineage has never faced opportunity like this. Zara finished, her gaze finding Mira's. Across the table, solution elegant, addresses security concerns while establishing unprecedented cooperation. Mira maintained professional composure despite her racing heart. The arrangement would provide both sides direct communication channel while demonstrating mutual commitment. The discussions exploded into chaos, both delegations retreating for emergency consultation. Hours later, when they reconvened, Reeve approached Mira privately. Coalition High Command requires clarification, he stated. Is this proposal diplomatic strategy or personal preference? Mira met his gaze steadily. Both, Ambassador, the distinction irrelevant to outcome. In the observation dome that night, away from negotiations and politics, Zara found Mira watching the stars. Without speaking, the Cynthian moved behind her, purple arms encircling Mira's waist, chin resting gently on the human's shoulder. Your people will agree, Zara whispered with certainty, as will mine despite objections. How can you be sure? Mira asked, leaning back against the alien's taller form. Because alternative returning to isolation and suspicion, Zara turned Mira to face her. Tell me truth, not diplomat speaking now, woman to woman. Is this what you want? Mira reached up, tracing the elegant curve of Zara's face, feeling the smooth purple skin beneath her fingertips. When I shared my last food with you, Mira whispered, I never imagined this outcome. But yes, this is what I want. You are what I want. Zara's smile illuminated her entire being, her hands cradling Mira's face as their foreheads touched, sealing an agreement beyond words or politics. Across the stars 1 standard year later, the newly designated Harmony Station orbited the neutral space between Coalition and Cynthian territories. What began as Epsilon 9 had been expanded, modular sections added to accommodate the first permanent joint, Human Cynthian Research and Diplomatic Outpost. Mira stood at the viewport of her personal quarters, watching a Coalition supply vessel depart, her reflection in the glass showing how much had changed. Her once gaunt face now healthy, her diplomatic uniform replaced with the distinctive blue and purple garments marking her unique position. Warm, purple arms encircled her from behind, and Mira smiled at the familiar sensation of Zara's embrace. Thinking serious thoughts again? The Cynthian asked, pressing a gentle kiss to Mira's temple. Remembering how this began, Mira replied, turning in her wife's arms. 1 year ago we were strangers from hostile worlds. Zara's silver eyes sparkled with affection. Strangers who shared last meal, becoming first interspecies diplomatic union in recorded history. The ceremony had been broadcast across both territories, a symbolic joining that represented more than personal commitment. Their union had broken barriers that centuries of traditional diplomacy had failed to breach. Ambassador Reeve arriving tomorrow. Mira noted quarterly review of joint initiatives. Anvex with Cynthian delegation. Zara added, her expression amused, still uncomfortable with our arrangement but admitting its effectiveness. The initial resistance from both governments had gradually yielded to pragmatic acceptance as the benefits became apparent. Trade routes opened, scientific exchange flourished, and the neutral zone, once tense with potential conflict, transformed into a corridor of cooperation. Communications from Cynthian homeworld. The station's interface announced, priority message for scientist Kavai. Zara activated the terminal, her expression growing serious as she read, Council approves expansion of cultural exchange program. 12 more human scientists cleared for Cynthian Academy attendance. That's wonderful, Mira exclaimed, recognizing the significance. The Cynthian Academy had been closed to all non-Cynthians for millennia. Progress continues. Zara agreed before her expression softened, becoming more personal than professional. Second message private from my mothers, they request. Visit to meet their human daughter, properly. Mira laughed at the term, nervous, about meeting Cynthian royalty in person. Unnecessary, Zara assured, her fingers intertwining with Mira's. They already approve knowing you saved their daughter, shared your last food when starving. Their quarters reflected their unique partnership. Human artifacts alongside Cynthian technology. The environmental controls set to a compromise between human and Cynthian preferences. What had begun as diplomatic necessity had blossomed into genuine partnership, each learning to navigate the differences in biology, culture, and perspective. Remember when you couldn't pronounce Cynthian greeting phrases? Zara teased, pulling Mira toward their shared sleeping platform. Remember when you couldn't understand why humans need so much sleep? Mira countered, following willingly. They settled, together, bodies fitting perfectly, despite different evolutionary paths, Zara's cooler purple skin complementing Mira's warmer human form. What began with hunger ends with abundance, Zara whispered philosophically beyond their viewport. Ships from both territories moved freely through once contested space. On dozens of worlds, citizens who had known only isolation now experienced cultural exchange. The diplomatic reports documented trade figures, security protocols, and technological sharing, the measurable outcomes of their union. What remained unquantifiable was the ripple effect of two individuals who chose connection over division, compassion over suspicion. Their personal story, a hungry human sharing her last meal with an injured alien, had become legend, a parable taught to children of both species. Mira traced the luminescent patterns that appeared on Zara's purple skin when emotions ran strong, her fingers following pathways now familiar and beloved. Did you know, Mira asked, when you asked for sanctuary that day, that we would change everything? Impossible to predict. Zara replied, drawing Mira closer. Only knew when you offered food instead of fear that humans capable of more than my people believed. And now? Mira asked, meeting those silver eyes that had once seemed so alien and now felt like home. Now we continue, Zara said simply, showing both worlds what possible when we see beyond difference to connection. Their kiss sealed this promise, a commitment renewed daily between two beings who had crossed the stars to find each other. What began with a simple act of kindness had transformed into a bridge between worlds, proving that even across the vast distances of space and difference, compassion could create connections strong enough to unite galaxies. The station continued its orbit stars, bearing witness to transformation begun by hunger, ended by love transcending species, worlds, and expectations.